Day 11. Downtown Toronto. Sunshine. I awoke to hear birds chirping while the sun had already broken through the horizon. It was still early, but the sun was out in full force. I gathered myself after last night's very late adventure and headed into Mary Curtis Park for my morning cleansing ritual. Again, I was greeted by the same older gentleman who appeared there every morning. While yesterday was a very long day with long distances covered, my goal for today was to explore certain landmarks of Toronto and then to catch up on my errands. I fired up my beast, threw on my soundtrack for my cross-country adventure, and headed into Toronto via Brown's Line and then the Gardiner Expressway. I found parking on Spadina, a familiar spot that I have been using for the past few days, and I decided I would stay quite close. Despite the much better weather today than yesterday, I had so many errands to run, so I had to cut my adventures a little short. I took a quick takeaway in Chinatown and headed east on Dundas. I passed by the colorful Art Gallery of Ontario. While I was quite intrigued and interested in their viewings, the panic that the COVID-19 pandemic had brought forced all attendees to pre-book their visit. The building itself had quite interesting architecture and was featuring an Andy Warhol and Vincent van Gogh display at the time. While I am far from artistic, I do appreciate art in its raw and unaltered form. Not wanting to get distracted for too long, I continued eastward on Dundas until I reached Yonge and Dundas Square. On the way there, I passed by a memorial on University Avenue to the brave Canadian airmen who sacrificed their lives to ensure that the world would continue to enjoy freedom and peace. Shortly after, I arrived at Yonge and Dundas Square. This open courtyard has been a landmark of Toronto for decades. This was a common place for everyone of all backgrounds to gather. There were plenty of sights to see. There were some protesters playing loud Latin music, shouting and waving signs about Cuba's problems. There were quite a number of individuals who were enjoying the legalization of marijuana. There were people on skateboards, scooters, electric bicycles, and even unicycles enjoying themselves in the square. The square itself had hearts painted on the pavement with different messages. There were far too many to look at, but one did catch my eye. Shortly after, I entered the Toronto Eaton Centre. The mall was bustling with activity, even more than Yonge and Dundas Square. If this was an ordinary day in Toronto, the Toronto Eaton Centre, then I could only imagine what it would be like during Christmas time. This was busier than a Best Buy during Boxing Day. I browsed around the shops and stopped for a long lunch. I caught up on my emails, voice messages, and many other things that I missed during my adventure that I started a little over a week ago. After relaxing a bit, I decided it was time to return to a less urban setting. I exited Toronto Eaton Centre and walked back on Dundas towards Spadina. On my way back, I discovered another memorial. The Sons of England Memorial, also on University Avenue. After being immersed in an urban setting, I decided I would take a walk into nature. I searched for a park nearby, and Google Maps directed me to Sir Casimir Gzowski Park. I returned to my beast and headed south down Spadina, and then back west on the Gardner Expressway. I easily found Sir Casimir Gzowski Park close by. Despite the sun beginning to set in and the night falling, this park was quite busy. It was a beautiful retreat back into nature despite being in such close vicinity to the urban center of Toronto. Lots of people were enjoying the surroundings right on the water. It made me think about how livable of a city Toronto must be. Could I imagine myself living here one day? Absolutely. I found Toronto to be a much more exciting, yet friendlier city than Vancouver any day. I walked along a footpath that led to a bridge of interesting architecture. The bridge was the Humber Bay Arch Bridge. Along the bridge were lovers' locks, where lovers would place padlocks with their initials to signify their permanent and everlasting love. Some of the locks were empty, with no initials at all. I suppose those were placed by individuals still looking for the one. After reaching the end of the bridge, it was already dark, and I knew I had many more errands to run. I still had to do laundry, and I had big plans for tomorrow. As exciting as Toronto has been for me, I knew that tomorrow would be my last day in Toronto before I move on with my trip, so I had something massive planned. But before I started finishing off my errands, I had the pleasure of catching up with a friend whom I haven't seen in a long time. Coincidentally, my friend Lance from Vancouver was visiting family in nearby Kitchener. We both decided to meet up for dinner, so I took the drive to Kitchener via the 401 highway. Again, this legal racetrack in Ontario had me pushing my beast faster than I normally do back in Victoria. I arrived in Kitchener after a short period of time and met up with Lance, who gave me a brief history of the Kitchener-Waterloo area. Apparently, this was a town once called Berlin, but during World War I, its name was changed to Kitchener. The town had a predominantly German population. I could see this as I drove through the suburban areas. The lawns were cut precisely. The houses all looked similar without any flashy decorations, and there was no rubbish strewn about on the street. All the cars and driveways were clean. We drove over to the German Cultural Center that housed a lovely restaurant where I had some of the most delicious German cuisine I have tasted outside of Germany. It was truly a great experience that reminded me of when I visited Germany a few years ago. It was also great to see a friend after being confined by restrictions on travel. As the night drew near, I dropped off Lance at his ancestral home and returned to my beast, searching for a local Flying J travel center where I could shower and do my laundry. I found one close by in Mississauga, where I spent the rest of my evening planning out the days ahead. When I completed my tasks, I returned to Etobicoke to settle for the night. It was a much shorter day than yesterday for me, but it was difficult to sleep. Tomorrow, I had something in store for me that would push my fears to another level. Subscribe to the Travel Experience channel. Tap the bell and join the conversation in the comments section below.